Welcome to On This Community, which houses Fort Worth Capoeira, or Filhos de Bimba Escola de Capoeira. On This also offers a variety of movement and cultural opportunities from parkour and acro yoga to silat, Portuguese language, and even a book club. Our studio space, like we said, we use it as part of the On This community. And as a capoeira school, we have been here in Fort Worth for about 5 years. We've done everything we can to keep the studio space as authentic feelings of home, of Brazil, of the culture and the energy that is represented in all of the movement and expression that we work with. Hi, I am Dr. Lindsay Puente, and I am the owner and head instructor here at Fort Worth Capoeira, Filhos de Bimba. I came into Capoeira almost 20 years ago when I was working on my PhD at the University of California. My studies were on the Afro-Latin world and in the Caribbean in particular, and histories of rebellions and revolutions and how those historic moments are remembered and relived and also erased in modern culture. Depending on the specific histories of each area, each cultural unit, each country. Capoeira falls into that, in that capoeira is often identified as a cultural expression, a movement, and a way of being that came out of slavery. Remember that just as all of the people who were enslaved were people before that, they weren't just slaves, they were people who had families, who had educations, who had places in their community, who had their own culture, were forced into slavery through a particular point of view. A lot of this movement, a lot of this music had a place in culture prior to slavery, but the conditions of slavery in Brazil took all of those facets and created the conditions for capoeira. Capoeira is a martial art, it is a dance, it is a music, it is a philosophy of life, it is a community. We have a lot of strikes and takedowns that give it that martial arts aspect, but there's also some really beautiful aesthetic movement, and it's all very rhythmic as well. So one of the main instruments we use is a musical arc called a berimbau. Rhythm and that percussive beats are what guide our movements when we play capoeira. Capoeira is about being a part of a community. It's about learning to listen and learning to look and learning to respond and how to respond and when to respond. It's about being strong as an individual, but being strong as an individual so that you can be stronger as a community. And those are some of the values that we really focus on. It's constantly in motion, and it has a base step that's called the ginga. The ginga is a pretty simple step. This is a really old art, and so everything that we do is actually very natural movement. If you think about when you walk, you're constantly shifting weight from one side to the other, and your arms really naturally counterbalance your legs as you're walking. Ginga takes all of that motion and makes it a little bit more dynamic and takes out the distance traveled in it. So when you try and Ginga pretty much in place, we're always going to have a bend in our knees because we're always going to be deeply connected to the earth. This makes us really stable and really strong and is helpful for the dynamics of the movement, and also as we get more advanced in the movement, as we quickly change positions, as we change levels, and as we change our axis and move upside down, having this strong base is going to be super important. So I want you to stay shoulder width apart, so a little bit wide here. And again, remembering that we're really kind of sinking into the ground. And we're just going to take one leg for now. Let's take our left leg and move our left leg straight back. And it's going to be a slightly deep motion here, right? So you're not in just like I stepped back a little bit. We're going to step back pretty far, again, thinking about driving deep into the ground. And with your left leg back, you're also going to raise your left arm. And so this is our counterbalance. So my right leg is forward, my left arm is forward. And from here, I want to always kind of have this arm up as a guard. For one thing, this is the open side of my body, and it's going to make sure that I've got a quick cover here. And it's also going to be guarding for my face. I want to always have the guard, so as I switch hands, which as I step forward, I'm going to start to switch hands and then switch legs. And those arms kind of track through the front there, and they stay in front. And so this is our movement as we just switch back and forth. And then remembering that natural walking where we're always moving our weight from one side to the other. As we ginga, we're going to step backwards, forwards, forwards, backwards, forwards, forwards. So it comes left, right, left, right, left, right, left. The arms stay high. There we go. We just move back and forth. Guarda is your guard. It's your defensive position. And we're going to do guarda baixo, which means low guard, and guarda médio, which means a medium guard. In both of these, we're going to move away from whatever is attacking, whatever strike is coming. And we're going to also, so we're going to change our plane forward to back. And then also there's going to be a change in plane from up to down. So if we start again with our left leg back, it's going to be the guarda baixo, which is basically a flat-footed squat with the hand all the way to the ground. For right now, if your left leg is back, your left hand is going to end up on the ground. So you would step up to parallel and then drop all the way down until that hand's on the ground. And you want to keep your right hand framed over your head and in a fist. When you stand up, you come right back to where you started. If your knees, your ankle flexibility, your hips, say that you are not going to go down that far today, that is fine. The second option is guarda médio, which would be from here in ginga position. You're going to turn sideways and lean away just a little bit while keeping your guard up high and still keeping your vision forward at whoever might be attempting to strike at you. So if we switch legs, same thing. They're going to show us guarda baixo. I'm going to show you guarda médio. And we go and return. And then we use the ginga to link these together. We'll do a full set and then back to the left. Guarda baixo or guarda médio, ginga, and now to the right, guarda baixo or guarda médio. Household object just to give us something visually to think about where we're moving. And what we're going to do is a strike that's called meia lua diferente. Meia lua means half moon, and diferente means in front. And for this strike, for right now, we're just going to start in parallel. And you're just going to take your leg and you're going to trace the top half of the moon. And then you're going to put your leg back where you got it. You're going to do that with the other side. Top half of the moon and bring it back. Good. This is not so much about how high your foot gets. Like in general, we're aiming for a trunk area, so we're not trying to get really high anyways. We do want to project out in front of us. So even if you don't have the range to get even above waist, that's okay. If you're stretching out, that's going to still be more effective. The higher you kick, the worse your balance is. So we're not trying to knock our balance off with this right now. When we do this from ginga, we're actually going to use a leg from the back. So if I have my right leg back, that's going to be my kicking leg. And it's going to be the same thing where I'm going to throw my kick and then put my foot all the way back. So we're going to try that now. Again, you don't have to have an object here, but it can help you just to think about where you are and to make sure that you're crossing through that plane as well. So we'll do right leg, just 3 in a row. 1, 2, 3. And switch legs. You're going to count in Portuguese this time. 1, 2, 3. And then that's our strike. It's meia lua diferente. So Capoeira is a community endeavor, right? It's never something that you do on your own. It's something that we need to have music for, we need to have partners to train with. And we're just going to show you real briefly what that looks like. Ultimately, Capoeira is self-expression. So it's not programmed and choreographed moves. It's moves that it's about response and reaction and expression. So we're just going to show you a quick game so you can see what that ends up looking like when it's all put together. This idea so that you can really see and feeling for what Capoeira is, because like I said, it is not a single person endeavor. It is something that takes a community to make happen. Thank you guys so much.